All right, today we're diving into the geography of a state that is just full of surprises, Colorado. Now, a lot of people think they know it, but trust me, we're about to take a journey that shows a side you have probably never seen before. So let me ask you, when you think of Colorado, what's the very first image that pops into your head? For most of us, I'm willing to bet it's something like this. And yeah, you wouldn't be wrong. This is the postcard perfect Colorado we all know and love. Those towering peaks, the crystal clear lakes. But that, my friends, is just one chapter in a much, much bigger story. Because what about this? These crazy, almost alien-looking rock formations, they're also 100% pure Colorado. And they're just the beginning of our trip into the state's hidden and frankly shocking diversity. It's funny, if you look at a map, Colorado seems so simple. It's just a perfect rectangle, right? But inside those clean, straight lines is a landscape of staggering complexity and incredible extremes. So to really understand this place, we're going to take a journey, starting in the east and heading west. And that means, and here's the twist, we're not starting in the mountains. Nope, we're starting way out on the vast open plains. Now get this, because it's pretty wild. This enormous landscape of prairies, farms, and ranches makes up nearly half of the entire state. It's this huge region that most people just fly over, but its rolling hills and that gigantic sky, they're an absolutely essential and way too often overlooked part of what makes Colorado, Colorado. This is the High Plains, and it has its own kind of quiet, rugged beauty. But okay, our journey is about to take a very, very dramatic turn as we start heading west. All right, we're heading west, and the elevation, well, it's about to start climbing, and fast. We are now entering the heart of the Rocky Mountains, the landscape that Colorado is so famous for. But what's really interesting is that as we step into these mountains, we're also stepping into the most populated part of the state. That eastern edge of the mountains, what they call the Front Range, is home to a staggering 70% of all Coloradans. And, it's really no accident. If you think about it historically, this narrow strip offered shelter from the harshness of the plains, it gave them access to water from the mountains, and it was just a natural place to stop when heading west. The scale here is just immense. This number, that's Mount Albert, the highest point not just in Colorado, but in the entire North American Rockies.
53. That's how many 14ers, peaks that soar above 14,000 feet. That's how many form the jagged spine of this state. But believe it or not, the next number is even more impressive.
The entire state of Colorado, every single inch of it, lies above 1,000 meters in elevation. Just think about that for a second. The lowest point in the entire state is still higher than the highest point in 18 other states. That's just wild. And this is what that kind of scale actually looks like. Just sheer vertical power. We've climbed all the way from the flat plains to the rooftop of the continent. And that brings us to a really pivotal, cool concept. Because right at the very crest of these mountains lies this critical invisible line, a line that determines the ultimate fate of every single drop of rain or flake of snow that falls here. We're talking about the Continental Divide. This is really the fundamental question that the divide answers. It's a choice between two completely different destinies, and it's all decided by which side of a mountain a single drop of water happens to land on. So you can think of it like the peak of a roof. If water lands on the eastern side, it begins a long, winding journey all the way to the Atlantic Ocean. But if it falls just a few inches to the west, it's destined for the Pacific. And here it is in the real world, a massive geographical concept, marked by a simple sign. You can literally stand with one foot in the Atlantic watershed and the other in the Pacific. How cool is that? All right, let's cross over and head west. So the second we cross that divide, it feels like we've entered a completely different world. Welcome to the Western Slope, a region defined by landscapes that are every bit as dramatic as the Rockies, but in a totally different way. The contrast is just striking. Instead of soaring peaks, now we've got these plunging canyons and these vast, arid plateaus. This is what's known as the rain shadow side of the state. Basically, those towering Rockies act as a giant wall, forcing all the clouds to dump their moisture on the eastern side, and that leaves this western half much, much drier. This entire region is drained by the mighty Colorado River on its epic journey toward the Pacific.
It's a land of high desert mesas and deep canyons. And yet, and this is the paradox, it's also home to some of the world's most famous snow-drenched ski resorts like Aspen and Vail, which are nestled way up high in the mountain valley. So we've journeyed all the way from the flat eastern plains, up and over the towering Rockies, and down into the canyons of the West. We've seen a state of just incredible diversity. But Colorado has one last perfect surprise waiting for us. Here are the two extremes we're talking about: Mount Elbert, the highest point, and the Arikari River, the lowest. But it's that low point that holds the final amazing surprise. And here it is. This is the fact that just ties it all together so perfectly. Colorado has the highest low point of any state in the US. I mean, think about that. Even at its most humble, at its very lowest elevation, Colorado is still way up there. And so we end our journey right here, at another one of those perfect lines on the map. The only place in the United States where you can stand in 4 states, all at the same time. It's just a fitting symbol for a state that seems so neatly defined on the outside, yet contains an entire world of complexity within. You know, it really makes you wonder, if a simple shape like a rectangle can hide so much complexity, what other lines on the map are out there, just waiting for us to explore them?